Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jeremy Donson here with thedrumprofessor.com, and today we're going to be going over the double stroke roll rudiment. We're going to start slow and gradually speed it up and show you how to go from double stroke to the fingering technique where you manipulate the stick with your fingertips to double bounce. So, hope you guys enjoy, and if you haven't taken advantage of the free live drum lesson with me, definitely do so. If there's anything you want to go over, no matter if you're a beginner, day one, or advanced, I'm here to help. So I'd be glad to meet you. Definitely go to the website, www.thedrumprofessor.com, to schedule that. All right, here we go. Double stroke roll. Okay, so going from a stroke, physically doing a double stroke, to either fingering technique or double bounce is usually the part where the roll breaks. In other words, like you hear it go from this to that, right? Where you can hear the difference in speed and control. A lot of times the second hit of the double bounce is weaker than the first. There's reasons for that and ways to fix that. So I'm going to go over how to really smoothly transition from double stroke to double bounce, or just start double bounce, whatever the song or piece of music requires that you do, whether it be bounce, fingering, or stroke. Okay, so when you start doing a double stroke, you physically move your wrist both times. That's double stroke. You are hitting the drum using your hand, not letting the stick do its own thing. So literally up and down with each hand twice. Okay, so you want to go as fast as you possibly can doing double stroke, and get it, just keep it there, right? Go as fast as you can, double stroke, and keep it there until you can play it for several minutes without having any hiccups. Like, so double stroke as fast as you can. Let's say that the fastest you could go would be the speed. Smoothly for now anyway, right? First of all, you want to try to get it a little faster, maybe up to this speed. Really smoothly every time. Make sure your stick heights are the same. I notice a lot with my weekly students that when they first do this, if they're right-handed, the right hand will be dominant and it's higher and louder. It'll sound kind of like that, right? So make sure they're the same stick height. Make sure you're not you're using a lot of wrist motion. You can kind of whip your wrist into there. It's fine if you have some arm movement there too. And we can go into more detail if you wanted to, as far as how to develop a lot of strength and speed in your snare chops here. But basically you just want a nice, smooth, fluid double. Now once you get up to, say, this speed, to get it faster, just hold it there and try just the slightest bit faster. Maybe try it with one hand. That's the speed. Just get one hand going faster, and then all you got to do is match it with the left, and then just throw them in together. So they're doing the same exact thing. You can do both hands individually at a faster speed, but when you try to put them together, that's usually where the issue happens. So just try them one at a time, get them as fast as you can, see what speed you can do, and then whatever speed that is fine. And then just try to put them together. Maybe like go digga, 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 digga. So just start start with one, throw the left in there without changing the right, and that'll help you get used to having them work together in opposites there. All right, so when you change to fingering, so fingering technique is where you squeeze with your fingers. So your fingers stay on the stick, but they come off the palm of your hand, right? And so when you hit, and then I squeeze with my fingertips. Now I don't go full blown like, you know, grab it like a baseball bat when I squeeze. I just get it to where it's the stick, the butt of the stick is against the palm of my hand. So it's like hit, squeeze, and that gets the second stroke. It's like a hinge. So watching the motion of it, it's literally just this, right? I hit with my wrist and then I squeeze through and the wrist follows through. So it's like that, right? Okay. Now that's going to take practice to get comfortable with that if you're not used to that. Definitely just try it one-handed. And then once you can get that comfortable, do the same concept, right? Now comes the bounce roll. Now bounce, you're giving control to the drumstick, right? So you're not physically moving twice. You're not physically moving and then squeezing through doing the second level of control with the fingering technique. You are letting the stick bounce on its own on the second one. I'm moving one time, I get the stick there, and then I let the stick bounce. I just kind of leave my hand there, right? Now when you're doing a fast roll, act like you're touching something hot, like down up. Okay, now when you do the bounce, a good way to start with that is to just take your middle ring and pinky finger off the drumstick and have a nice loose relaxed grip. So if you tried to pull the stick out of my hand, you could do so effortlessly. Either I have a super loose grip or you're super buff, one of the two, but it just comes right out, right? So you want a nice loose grip, and these three fingers off. Make sure the gap in your fulcrum is not there. You never want there to be a gap here between the thumb and index finger, which is called the fulcrum of your grip. You want that to be closed. So when you do this, just hit and just let it bounce. Now notice how the second hit is delayed. It's like dut, 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 right? Okay, so that's when you know you have the right control there. If you do it and it sounds like this, or like that, or something like, you know, maybe a little bit too much bouncing going on, that's when you know you want to adjust it a little bit. You want it to be like that second hit is separated, and then the rest of them quickly speed up afterwards. So if you ever hit and it sounds like this, or your roll sounds like this, something similar to that, that means one of two things is happening. One, you're either hitting through the drum and you're not giving the stick room to breathe, and it's crushing or killing the stroke. You're trying to hit through it. It doesn't give it any room to bounce. So it's just like this. Say this was a basketball court, and I am dribbling a basketball, and the ball's here, and my hand's right on top of the basketball. It's not like right off the floor, right on top of the basketball. It is not going to dribble very much. It's going to go brrr, and it's going to die out, and that's it. It's not going to get that good open bounce that you want in an open stroke roll. So, but if I let my hand off of it, up a ways, then I got plenty of room. It's going to bounce quite a bit, right? Same thing with this. The looser grip and not hitting through the drum and crushing the stroke gives it room to breathe, just like it would if you're dribbling a basketball and your hands up higher, giving it room, instead of like almost right on top of it with it sitting on the floor. So it's like that. Also, if your grip is too tight, you're not giving the stick room to move around and your hand to bounce. You're not enabling it to move at all. So how can it bounce much, right? You might get a little bit, but That's more of a buzz roll, right? So loose grip, don't hit through the drum, act like you're touching something hot, and you'll get that nice double. Now, one last thing, when you double stroke fairly at a fairly moderate or slower tempo, you definitely want to have a very loose grip, right? Not like, you know, you're holding it like it's gross or something, you know what I mean? But you do want to have a nice relaxed grip when you do that. If it's too tight, you'll run into that, and it's more choppy. Da-da, 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 instead of digga, 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 nice and smooth. Now, it's actually, I think, a little harder to double bounce slower than it is faster. So the faster you go when you double bounce, the tighter you hold the stick, right? So and it makes sense because you have to hold it tighter to shorten the bounce. If it's loose, then it's going to be that separation instead of and there you have it. So going slow to medium to fast to crazy fast, you want to make sure to remember all those steps. Your grip is not going to stay the same the entire time if you're going to have a very clean, smooth double roll. All right, and there you have a double stroke roll going from double stroke to double stroke fingering technique to double bounce. I hope this was very helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to comment below, and like, share, and subscribe. And again, if you have not taken advantage of the free live drum lesson with me, definitely do so. I'd love to see where you're at on this roll, how you apply it to songs, and basically just see where you're at on the drums and in rudiments and help you build from there. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome time. Have fun, stay awesome, and rock on. Later, guys.